fuck, why not? Let's just do, let's do freaking Madeline McCann. Okay, Madeline McCann. So, let me turn on. Okay, yeah. So, Thursday, the 3rd of May, 2007, prior to Luge, and look, I'm fucking stoned, so look, don't hold me to account here. Everything I say is like my opinion, it's an allegation, no guarantee that anything I say is true. But I think I got a pretty good idea what happened here. So, they're negligent parents. Whatever happens, they should have been prosecuted for literally who the hell goes out and leaves like 2 toddlers and 1 slightly older child. Who the hell does that? Your negligent parents. So at the very least, you got to prosecute for that. But let's just say, hey, we'll give them a pass on that. There are allegations about the McCanns. Okay. Jerry McCann is a cardiologist. Okay, he is a senior doctor. I don't know if he's a registrar. He's probably a consultant by now. Back then, he probably was only a senior house officer, registrar. But he's from a prominent family. And he's friends with Andrew Brown, the brother of Gordon Brown, who was the then Prime Minister. Back in this day, this was when I was fucking, knocking about in Cornwall. I'm from Bristol, but I was down there working in Cornwall, fucking around the hospital there as a pharmacist. And Gordon Brown was the Prime Minister. There are allegations, okay, that Jerry McCann and Kate McCann were swingers, and they're in secret societies. So Jerry McCann is in with the Masons and all that stuff, and he's from a prominent family. So I can't dispute that. It's probably true. Can't vouch for it to be true, but that's what they say. And they would go to parties and they would swing, and it's completely disgusting. I loved my wife back then. Would I want to take her to a party where other dudes are fucking her? No, not unless you're a pervert, man. But apparently that was what turned Jerry on. And, Kate would go there as well, and they'd take the kids. And so there are allegations of adult sexual misconduct. Not that, look, today anything is possible, right? But to anyone with a moral compass, no. What they were doing was not good. But thankfully, still today, paedophilia, hebephilia, having an attraction, hebephilia to prepubescent, hebephilia attraction to people who are post-pubescent, all that stuff, thankfully, is still off the grid in terms of moral acceptability. But hey, I've disparaged Tyson Fury, but he got one thing right, that he's that's the one thing that, the devil will come back when, these things are all legal. And it wouldn't surprise me, because the elites are into that kind of crap. They really fucking are. But anyway, so they're into that crap. Allegedly, I have to say allegedly, because they're very litigious, the McCanns. But anyway, what the fuck happened at Prior to Luge? What happened? Look, there are 2 theories, okay? Obviously, there was no abduction. We know that. There was no evidence of an abduction. The windows, those blinds that they had, literally, if you touch one of those blinds, you will leave a scratch on it. They literally, I don't know what they were painted with, but they are with the material that you touch those, you leave a mark. The blinds were untouched. There was no abduction, no evidence of abduction. And I'm not going into the Pat Brown theory about the whole, one of the friends saw Jerry outside talking to a May, and at the same time there was a dude walking past holding a baby. Pat is smarter than me. I'm not going to go down that line. I think it's actually simpler than that because, I'm a pharmacist, Jerry's a doctor, so's Kate. I think I have a similar insight to them. I'm going to go with what I would do if I was in their position. So what happened was that Madeline died by means of positional asphyxia. So what happened was she was being neglected and she clambered up onto the sofa and she fell behind the sofa as any inquisitive child would do. It's just horrible. My daughter, she's 14 now, and she's the world to me. But obviously to Kate and Jerry, apparently a daughter ain't that much. I mean, they had 3 of them, so perhaps they're only worth like a quarter, a third, what the fuck, of what a normal daughter means to some. But no, fuck me. They didn't give a fuck. They left those kids, the 2 little babies who were only so young. I don't know if they were 2, maybe 2. And then Madeline, who was like about 4 or whatever. She could crawl around, she could walk around a bit, cruise around, maybe, a bit more than that. They left her. And obviously she wakes up and she wanders out. And she goes to the sofa and she clambers up into the window thinking, where the hell's my parents? Poor little thing. And she falls behind the sofa. And you get positional asphyxia whereby you want to breathe, but you're in such a confined space you can't. Yeah? It's like that case in America where that girl, I forget her name, but she put a dude in a suitcase. That's another story, man, but put him in a suitcase. He got in the suitcase, I guess, voluntarily, but then she zipped it up. And the dude can't breathe. And it's like that. You want to breathe. No one's constricting your nose or your mouth. But if you can't raise those intercostal muscles and you can't lower the diaphragm, can't, flex the diaphragm, you can't expand your lungs. And that's what happens. So Madeline dies underneath the sofa. That's what I believe. And that's why the cadaver dogs, they alerted there. But the big question is, so Kate and Jerry, they come back to the house. Why don't they do what any obvious person would do? I'm a fucking pharmacist. I'd be like, damn, what the fuck's happened to my daughter? I call 999. I'm like, hell, maybe I've been neglectful, but I'm going to call 999. Maybe they can save my daughter. I'm doing CPR, obviously, while we're doing this. There's 2 of them. I'm doing CPR. And I'm literally praying every second that I can save my child. Why don't they do that? The reason's obvious. Okay, it's not obvious. There's the reason's one of 2 things. One, that they can't because they know as doctors that she's dead. Which makes me think that maybe she died a bit earlier than what people claim. Because if they come back into the apartment, you'll immediately do CPR. Even if, let's say, she's been dead an hour since your last check. They claim they're doing these baby checks, all that crap. I think that if you came in and she'd been checked an hour ago and she was fine, and then you do the baby check, and this time she's not fine, she's behind the sofa, she's dead, you do CPR, you call 999, because there is a chance you can save people. And this is something I want to get across, actually, for any of you that don't know about CPR. The point of CPR is not to raise someone from the dead. You don't do chest compressions and mouth breaths to get the person to jump up and start dancing and singing a song. No. You do the chest compressions literally to get the blood moving around through their body and into their brain, so that when they get them into A&E, they can give amiodarone, they can give epinephrine, they can give whatever the fuck the cocktail is nowadays, and they can revive them. But you do the chest compressions to keep them alive, and that's what Jerry and Kate would have done, I think. But anyway, going back to A and B. So why don't they do that? So I think probably she died earlier than what they're claiming. But why not? Why don't you just call the police? Well, there'll be a forensic post-mortem, okay? And they're going to take hair samples more than likely, because they're not stupid. And we're funny in England. We think we're like the smartest people in the world, and in many ways we are. I believe I am. And we think that all the foreigners are idiots. But I think that they probably know how to do a forensic post-mortem. And I think they probably know how to do a drug test. And I think they would have tested her hair, because they'd have thought, those people are going out partying and they're leaving kids in their room, and maybe they want to drug them with some sedating antihistamines, or maybe a benzodiazepine, or maybe, what the hell, maybe a barbiturate, fuck, I'm a pharmacist, they can do any of that stuff, and they're doctors, they have access to that crap. I had access to it, they would too. And I think they would do a hair test. And the McCanns, at least if they don't, they may not even know if they do a hair test or not, but they think that they may do. They're like, fuck, we can't leave the body here, call 999. They're gonna, they'll do a forensic post-mortem. They're gonna do a hair test. Hey, they may even stick a needle in, take some urine for the bladder, and they'll see that I've drugged her tonight with diphenhydramine or something. That is the good side. That is Kate and Jerry, good side. They're just covering themselves, and they're not paedophiles, they're not evil. Unfortunately, there is the scenario too, whereby I believe the words of John Wedger, who, if you don't know him, is a child abuse expert, whistleblower. I trust the dude. He comes across as a very trustworthy individual. And he was talking about Jerry's connections to secret societies, Masons, to Gordon Brown's brother Andrew Brown, the fact that a bunch of them are swingers, possibly paedophiles, all this crap. This is all allegedly. Obviously, I have to say that I'm not. They can sue me if they want. I don't have a lot of money, But anyway, that was what they said. And this is the reason why, when still Madeline dies by means of positional asphyxia, still the same thing, falls down behind the couch, or Wedger believes Maddie broke her neck or something. I don't. I think no. I think you fall down there and you're restricted and you can't breathe. You can't expand your lungs. I believe it's positional asphyxia, but that's because I'm medically trained and Wedger ain't. But whatever. I believe that, we're on the right track here. That happened, and they come back, the parents, and they can't call 999 because in this second scenario, they know there'll be a forensic post-mortem, and in that post-mortem, not to be gruesome and graphic and horrible, but they're going to examine the vagina, they're going to examine the anus, and they'll see that Maddie was a victim of sexual abuse. And that is the really, really horrible thing that I don't even want to go into, but that is a suspicion. And there's a lot of that with the elites, with the secret societies, with all that crap. There's unfortunately a massive history of all that stuff. You know, members of the cabinet in Gordon Brown's days were paedophiles and you know, I don't even want to go into it because it's too disgusting. I have a daughter myself, and the idea of like talking about this stuff, it turns my stomach, so I'm not going to go into it. But that is the second scenario. That's why they can't call the police, because they know that the forensic post-mortem will identify this stuff that they've been up to. And not just them, but their mates. Why is it they have so much power over the Tapas? Was it Tapas 7, Tapas 9? I can't remember it. But the group of people there prior to Luz that they were hanging out with, why is it they're covering for them? Just think of Diddy. Yeah, Puff Daddy. Yeah, the scumbag that got my favourite rapper, Biggie, killed. Just think about that, and maybe it's the same thing. They got dirt on one another and they can't do it. And apparently they used to swing, and they used to hang out with the Prime Minister's brother and all this crap. But anyway, that's my take on it. That, look, they should have been prosecuted. And if that had happened in England, they would have at least been prosecuted for child neglect. If I went out the house, you know, if I'd done this 10 years ago, my daughter was 3 years old. If I'd done this 10 years ago, if I'd wandered out the house and my daughter had been abducted or had died or something awful had happened, I would be fucking prosecuted. Why is it they're not? Why is it they're protected? Why is it it's fine to leave children unattended? You've got to ask, haven't you? Why is it that £70 million has been spent? Listen to John Wedger. Yeah? Because he'll tell you that the fact is, hey, we sighted Maddie in Australia. There's a girl that says she's Maddie in Australia. Well, that's great, mates. Okay, cool. We'll go to Australia. We get £100 a day spending money, put up in an all-inclusive hotel, and we'll stay here for a week while we interview the girl that says she's Maddie. Great. Fucking corruption. Yeah, enough said, man.